15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
We need to get community. We need this thing to be bigger than just our little circle of players and coaches.
Are you kidding me? Touchdown, Oregon.
With 2 seconds on the clock, he hits it!
That's the bigger picture in this thing, allowing the community to celebrate the hard work, blue-collar mentality this group brings to the table.
And the Ducks have won it. The Ducks have won.
We get to struggle together, and we get to have joy together.
Dante will dribble it out. The Ducks are Pac-12 tournament champions.
I am so proud right now to be the head coach at Oregon.
Oregon's a Fiesta Bowl champion in a 12-win season.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
It's Friday of spring break. We've got a lot to cover on the diamond, some golf in action, lacrosse coming up tomorrow. A lot to cover, and welcome inside the Country Financial Studio. Joey Mack here with you today. We've got baseball at home. PK Park hosting Game 3 between Seattle and Oregon tonight. By the way, kids get in free tonight. 5 o'clock start. Perfect timing for maybe mom and dad happy hour at the ballpark. That's cool. And then, kids get in free. It's Cars Day. We're going to have a debate tonight on the broadcast, because apparently I've been told by Brooke Robinson, who's our new lead for the Oregon marketing team, I've been told that I have a take. I said that all 3 Cars movies in the trilogy were good. People disagreed with me. I thought they were fine. They were good. The first Cars is great. The third Cars is great. I would say the second Cars is good. But good trilogy. So anyway, it's Cars night at PK Park tonight. Tomorrow, by the way, for that noon start, Oregon and Seattle, the Ducks are going to host an Easter egg hunt. And I still hope that we find a way to have some speckled eggs, duck style. I also brought that up in the press box and got massively shot down. Like, you want people to paint the egg? Isn't that what you do? Kelly, what? What is going on in here? Live on the air. Kelly Graves is here, folks. Are you coming on? Look at this. Look at this. Hey, put a headset on. Put a headset on. This is like old times. Wow. Wow. This is something. So, got Beavs up by 2. I don't know who I'm supposed to root. Back the pack. No, I don't know.
What pack?
Yeah, I'm with you. Hey, Coach Graves is
Hi,
here.
you guys.
Do you see this?
Are we actually really live on?
Yeah, live on the air.
Hey,
so
okay.
microphone's hot.
Okay, yeah, better watch out.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
So, hey, for those that don't know this, Coach Graves' office used to be right down the hall from us. Now it's Coach Lombardi's office, but everyone is either at practice or in Southern California in our wing of the building. So this is like old times. You used to cruise by.
You're just taking anybody that stumbles on by.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a really low bar.
Yeah. How are you?
Hey, pretty good, pretty good. Yep, we've got some recruits here, and we're taking our pictures over here. And
nice.
I actually came down for a reason. I was hoping you guys would be here.
Oh, good.
So
we're
wanted
here.
to say hi.
We're here. Yeah, we got baseball game day, softball coming up. The golf teams are in action. And Coach, it's recruiting season. It sounds like for you.
Hey, welcome to the days of the portal. It's always recruiting season.
How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 365 days a year.
It's changed a lot, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. There used to be a nice rhythm to the season. After the season was over, you had a chance to relax a little bit before you started working out with your own players and getting them better in the offseason. Not anymore.
Yeah.
You're on that horn or on that portal every day looking who's in.
Yeah. Have you seen the Cars movies? This is an important question. Like the
Cars.
The Disney Pixar movies with Lightning McQueen.
Yeah, what are we going for here?
So it's
the
Cars
answer's
Day.
no.
The answer's no. All right.
Well,
so
I think I saw one of them.
I can't get a definitive answer. So it's Cars Day at PK Park. Kids get in for free, So that's fun if you want to come over to the ballpark tonight, enjoy some weather. Good weather.
Well, I'm more into the baseball than the actual promotion.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Good baseball team, 17-7 so far for Coach Wazikowski. Hoping for more wins.
We all figured that. I mean, he does such a great job.
We
Man,
hope so.
Alive.
Yeah.
That's a great sport. The one I've really appreciated is softball since I got here.
Yeah.
That is so much fun to watch. Baseball, I've been a lifelong fan. You guys know it's probably my favorite sport after basketball. But softball, it moves so fast.
Yeah.
And you can't make a mistake.
Yeah.
Because those bases so close.
Hey, have you, as a baseball consumer, has your viewing and enjoyment of the sport at all changed with the pitch clock? Like, has it changed you?
No, because
really?
you know me, I like to talk. So
okay.
Isn't that why we go to the game, have a good time, chat, converse? Young kids now don't know what that means, actually. But I enjoy it. I think they did the right thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the rule changes.
So a couple things this year. So in collegiate baseball now you can have a pitch comm, right? So they can literally hear, fastball, curveball, whatever you want them to throw.
Okay.
And that's also picked up the pace. I'm into it.
Oh, so no signals anymore.
Don't have to, no.
Okay. Yeah.
And that means you're not picking signs and having an Astros conundrum and,
But I think that's okay.
Yeah.
I like all that. That's gamesmanship.
I do,
I think
too.
that's the great thing about baseball. There's a lot more gamesmanship in that sport than a lot of the others.
In basketball, though, like, if they know your play calls, right, like, I guess that's
They
part
all
of the
do.
scouting report. Yeah, they all do anyway, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in today's day where everyone has synergy and video and everything else, right, like, everyone knows what you're going to do for the most part, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no question. That's the biggest change I think we've seen.
Really?
Just your ability to scout and know. Sometimes I've got players and have had players, even when we were a little bit better, that they didn't even know what we were running, right? Or they would forget. So it's hard in 2 days to teach them what, Stanford's going to run,
Right.
talk about all that triangle stuff.
But you know what the play call is, and you can shout out, hey, this is what's coming, right?
Exactly. Or after timeouts. That's a big one.
Right.
Like I'll look to whatever coach has that scout and say, okay, what are they going to run?
Right.
Because on synergy, there are tendencies. So guess what? 75% of the time after they call a timeout, they're going to run some kind of a middle ball screen.
Huh.
And so we can kind of set our players up for it and have them be expecting it.
Video has changed coaching, right? I mean, just so significantly. In every
it has,
sport.
yeah, definitely.
Waz and I talked about this once, that like collegiate baseball 10 years ago, you were happy if there was a live stream. Now, like, everything is on a live stream, and so you just see the tendencies. I'm fascinated by this stuff, Coach. Like, the way that you all's industry has changed, I think it's remarkable.
In fact, one of my assistant coaches, Lisa O'Meara, is really into analytics, and she has broken down when we have recruits come in, she analyzes where they're at and then how moving here can affect them. So like today, just things like when she comes, a player comes off a ball screen, let's say, to her left, she's making 29% of her threes. To her right, she's making 38. This side of the floor, this is her efficiency. That side of the floor, this is her efficiency. What's her free throw rate? All these things, these nuances that are different than even 10 years ago.
That's wild.
And some coaches coach by it.
Yeah.
And I think there's a little disconnect there.
There's, I think, certainly like it's a balance, right?
There's a balance, yeah. If you only live by the analytics.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. For sure. So what's up? I mean, I haven't even asked you about, what's going on.
I love it.
This used to by the way, this used to happen when we first built the studio in, 5-6 years ago now. KG used to just walk by all the time and be like, you guys want me to come on? Yeah, always. Yeah. This is why I like having the studio in this building, and I do miss you all over at Matthew.
Yeah, I do too. I mention that every time I come over here. This is where we come over to take recruiting pictures and things like that. But I always thought that was one of the great things about Oregon when I first got here. You had a chance to go down to Waz's office and just sit down, or Casey Martin, who is a great sports fan, not just golf fan.
Yeah.
He follows Duck sports, and just sit and just chat. I learn a lot from other coaches. We all go through the same thing.
Sure.
We had a tough year, and it's nice to be able to go down to another coach who's maybe kind of experienced the same thing. Like, how did you handle it? What did you tell your players? And so you can learn a lot just by, being around other coaches.
I've always felt like good coaches, well, maybe good professionals in general, are lifelong learners. Like, there's always something else you can learn.
Oh my goodness, no doubt. Yeah, no doubt. I hate sitting in a hotel room. That's one of my least favorite things in life.
Terry used to tell me that all the time, by the way. He's like,
About me?
Coach Graves cannot sit in a hotel room.
It's like, as you get my age, I'm 61, and I'm not saying I'm old by any stretch, but to think, okay, I'm spending the latter part of my life sitting in a hotel room, either watching film or watching TV. And so when I do go on the road to recruit, I will almost always call one of the local universities or colleges or something and say, hey, do you mind if I just sit in on a practice? So I have sat in on, hundreds of practices of other colleges, and I watch and I take notes and I get some good stuff, good drills, good sets, good out-of-bounds plays, whatever. And so, I think it's important to be a lifelong learner.
And coaches like broadcast, I always say that broadcasters, especially young in their careers, we steal stuff from everyone else we're hearing, and then it becomes kind of our own style. I feel like coaching's probably similar to that.
You know what? That's it. Everything I run, I've stolen at some point. But no, okay. But every coach can say the same thing. But then what happens is you steal it. I like this, but then you tweak it a little bit, given the talent that you have, and then you tweak it again with other talent, and then pretty soon it's your own stuff.
Right.
And people are stealing from us. Back when we were running a lot of ball screens with Sabrina and that crew, I had every WNBA coach at some point call me and say, hey, how do you guys do this and this and this? And I said, well, we've stolen this from the Turkish men's league.
Right, there you go.
I love watching European men's basketball.
Yeah,
it's fantastic, and you get some of the best sets. I think they're a little ahead of the NBA even, and the NBA steals a lot of what they do. Anyway, that's kind of how it goes. Who do you steal from? Who's your announcers?
Oh, gosh. I mean, growing up, I stole a lot from John Miller.
Okay, love him.
I really love the way that John Miller just flowed in baseball. I actually think it's a travesty that Mike Tirico does not call NBA radio on basketball anymore.
Okay. Yeah.
I loved Mike Tirico calling radio basketball, and obviously Terry.
Yeah, no.
Stole a lot from those guys.
We've been blessed to have some really good ones right here. When I grew up in Salt Lake. When I was in college, my family lived in Salt Lake City, and I went to the University of New Mexico in Albuquerque. And I remember when I would drive home, and that was a significant drive.
That's a ways.
I would listen to Vince Scully because Albuquerque was the AAA minor league team for the Dodgers, and so they did all the Dodgers games. And I don't know how many times, Vince Scully helped me get through that long drive, just listening to him, and it was such a great storyteller. He was fantastic.
It's funny, we were actually just talking about this in the studio today. As long as cars are a thing, the audio medium is not going anywhere for exactly what you're describing, right? I think about that a lot, that sometimes on a long drive, I got to get people through the game.
Yeah. Well, now I listen to Joey Mack when I drive to Portland,
that's nice.
I'm watching or listening to Ducks baseball. But actually, I'm going to tell you this. I think radio is the best way to follow baseball.
I agree.
I think it's better than TV.
Yeah. It's the oldest sport on the radio. It's the original broadcasters sport. There's some nostalgia to it. For sure.
Well, that's the sport itself.
Yeah.
That's what makes
America's
it great.
pastime.
The history is more important in baseball than any other sport.
Yeah.
That's why I am a traditionalist. Are we in a break now? You actually went to a break.
No. We're rolling.
I'm a traditionalist, so I still like home run, RBI, batting average, and that's gone away. All these
OPS.
Analytical other stuff, I don't understand it as much.
Right.
And it doesn't mean as much to me.
Do you say RBI or RBIs?
Well, I used to say RBIs, but that makes sense.
Now you say RBI because it's proper grammar.
Or RSBI.
That's what it should be. RSBI.
Yeah, but for
idiots,
it should be.
Yeah. Ribbies,
Ribbies was cool.
Ribbies.
Yeah.
Went with that for a while.
But that's, I was a baseball card collector.
Yeah.
Right? Every kid was. And, and it had batting average, home run, RBIs.
Yeah.
And then it had, bases on balls and that kind of stuff. But basic stuff.
Yeah, the basics.
Not the
Well, look,
war. And
you got to get the basics right before you can have the advanced stuff, right? Get 101 down, then you can take 201.
Yeah, amen.
Right?
There you go.
Well, Coach, this was great to see you. Actually, fans are going to be upset. We're 15 minutes in, and I haven't even asked you. So what's going on with the team? It is recruiting season, as you said. Just where are you at? How are things going?
Yeah, well, we haven't really seen the team much since we got done playing because we went right into dead week and then finals week, and you can't do anything during those 2 weeks with your team. And then last week was spring break, or this week is spring break, so they're all starting to roll back in. And I'm anticipating we might have some changes on the roster, as everybody always seems to do. And but we've already got a commitment, and this Eliza Mevia signed, and she's a good player. The same person in Germany that told me about Satu when she was young also swears by this player, said, Kelly, she is really good.
4.5 steals a game is a lot.
And she's just kind of well-rounded, average 6.8 rebounds and over 5 assists, and just plays the right way. And played for a friend of mine, Jim Jaber, at Siena, and Jim said, Kelly, this kid can play. She's going to really help you. And so you get those kind of recommendations as well as what I've seen with my own eyes. And go, yeah, I think we've got a pretty good one there.
Sweet. Love to hear that. Scott asked a great question. Your best baseball card that you ever had?
Wow. Okay. True story. So I collected them all from like early 70s on. So I had them all. So which one was my favorite? Well, Roberto Clemente was my favorite player growing up.
I just saw the Roberto Clemente statue when we were in Pittsburgh. Awestruck.
Yeah.
Beautiful ballpark.
He's the greatest right fielder that ever played. 17 gold gloves.
I agree.
Or 14 gold gloves and 317 batting average lifetime, 3,000 hits, and God bless him, he died, of course, on a plane during a mercy mission to Nicaragua during an earthquake. But my favorite. But a neighbor of mine collected like old-time cards, his dad. So he gave me a ton of cards from the 50s. I had Mantles and Mazes. No, it was crazy. Now, okay, but I wasn't smart enough to put them in a plastic case or anything like that. I'm putting that stuff in my bike spokes. And so
flag on the play.
Big time flag. But you guys, I'm telling you, I probably gave away ended up giving up all my cards.
You gave away a fortune.
A fortune. And in fact, the guy I gave them to, who works for the IRS now, he was one of my boyhood buddies growing up, and he said, yeah, when I was going through college, if I couldn't make rent, I'd go down and sell one of them cards. And it's like, God dang, man.
That's great.
It's like, but if he was a real friend, wouldn't he have given me a piece later on, a piece of the action?
Yeah.
I didn't even get a percent.
So he must owe you, on the investment then, right?
Hey, by the way, I've got a recruit here. We're taking pictures.
Yeah, hey, you go.
It's time.
Get out of here. Thanks, Coach.
Good talking with you.
Hey,
go Ducks.
Always great to catch up with Kelly Graves. You never know what's going to happen in the studio. Next, we're going to talk baseball. Yeah, we're doing that when we come back. Baseball Game 3 coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Imagine all the fun you can have this spring break in a new Toyota. Woo-hoo! I'm having fun, and I'm not even there.
Ready, set, go get your Toyota today. Toyota, let's go places. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends April 1st.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Imagine all the fun you can have this spring break in a new Toyota. Woo-hoo! I'm having fun, and I'm not even there.
Ready, set, go get your Toyota today. Toyota, let's go places. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends April 1st.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says,
avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, Honey Bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
A surprise appearance from Kelly Graves, and we welcome you back to Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. True story, I had no idea that he was going to come by and just pop on. And baseball, yeah. Coming up, we'll talk a lot of softball. Knight Ureski's going to join us from Los Angeles. Much better start on offense for baseball yesterday. 7th inning was key, and this is where baseball's crazy sometimes. It was a 5-2 game. Ducks are in front, but Seattle loaded the bases. 7th inning, 1 out. Ducks roll up a double play. Then Oregon responds with 2 of their own in the bottom half to make it 7-2. Mason Neville hits a 3-run homer the following inning. It's 10-2. That was the momentum shift. Ducks started better, got a good performance from R.J. Gordon. Jeffrey Hurd had a day, 4 for 4 with 4 RBI. Mason Neville with that big home run that I alluded to. Bryce Betcher got drilled 3 times. I mean, you can't plan for that, but the guy at the top of the order got on base an awful lot. Ducks are 17-7, a good place to be. Mark Wasikowski post-game, I think, much happier than he was at least a couple nights ago.
10-2 win, 16 hits. Just how do you feel like you guys did overall today?
Good response to yesterday. Felt like the team, they responded well, and I thought overall the pitching was solid, and yeah, it was an optimistic day for sure.
Jeffrey Hurd goes 4 for 4 before going out of the game. Just what did you see from him? A lot of base hits to the other way. Just you feel like that kind of gets him into a rhythm going the other way like it does with Walshy?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe so. A lot of times that's what happens. He had a lot of good swings today. It was good. I mean, he hadn't been racking up hits here lately. He started off really hot and was our most consistent guy, and then he kind of cooled off a little bit, but it's good to see him get back on it and have such a good day today.
Maddox Mullen gets a start, 3rd of the year, goes 3 for 5 or 3 for 4, whatever it was. Just what did you see from him there?
Swung back good. Played okay at short, right? If anything, got a little bit tentative on maybe a play out there that I know that he'd like to have back, but I think that's normal kind of for just, growing pains with the freshman. Really encouraged with what he did offensively, though. Boy, he put great swings on the ball all night. Maybe even his best swing went for an out, deep fly ball to center field, and it got caught up in the wind. I thought he really gave us a spark and a lift.
How do you feel like RJ performed? I think he left 6 or 7 guys on base during his outing.
Yeah, really good. I mean, we didn't make a play or two for him. Same thing with Ian. We didn't make a play or two for Ian. Led to some innings, and yet they were able to get out of it. And then I thought Cole Stokes probably came in and got a couple of the biggest outs of the game with the double play ball, the 4-6-3 double play. When he got in there, I thought that was a huge performance for him. RJ pitched well, Ian pitched well, and Colin at the end pitched well. Yeah.
Brock, is there any? I know it happened just a handful of minutes ago. Is there any update on him or?
No.
And Casella just like a pulled hammy there, running down the first.
Yeah, I don't know if that's anything serious or not. Time will tell, but I don't think so. We took him out precautionary.
And got to follow up with Garrotti there at the end. Was that was it a knee issue that he was having? Or?
I'm not too sure. Again, I'd have to follow up with him and see what that's all about. It didn't seem serious, though.
Just overall, again, I'm going to ask you about the lineup another time for the millionth time, but this one seemed like it was doing pretty well. Do you feel like you're getting a little bit closer to kind of figuring out a good little rhythm with it?
Yeah, I mean, I can't really comment on that until actually we watch the tape and see, the pitches that were addressed or weren't addressed, and you have a better feel. Even last night, after I was frustrated with the way we played offensively, I go back and I watch the tape, and I'm glad I kind of bit my tongue because I thought we actually hit better than we showed last night. The tape showed that, and even though we didn't have a bunch of hits and a bunch of runs, we actually hit better than than I thought we did on tape, and so I'd rather look at the tape and see what kind of offensive performance we really did have. It was obviously good. We had some loud swings. Mason DeVille had a loud swing at the end of the game. Ansoneros had a loud swing at the end of the game, and there were several other really good swings, backside RBI type swings and at-bats. So it was more of a complete offensive performance today.
And you called it yesterday with Mason. You said that he was swinging a really hot bat during practice. He hits a 3-run homer tonight, makes a couple good plays and left. Just overall, just wouldn't you feel like you can get out of him in left field?
He's a really good young player. He's a very talented young player, and as he just continues to grow and get better, he's a guy that has sky the limit potential, and yet he's young, and so there's a lot of teaching that needs to occur to be able to help him get where he needs to be. The good part is that he's a hungry player, like all these guys are, and he really wants to do well.
Bryce got hit 3 times today.
4
times, excuse me. Does that at all kind of go through your head of like, he gets hit a lot, like maybe putting him in the leadoff isn't such a bad idea because there's a good chance he might get plunked?
Well, I think he was on base 5 times today, and so if you define the role of a leadoff hitter, it's to get on base. And when you have 6 at-bats, you get on 5 times. Yeah, that definitely does answer that bell. Yeah, I was proud of Bryce, and that's a tough kid right there. Anytime you get I've never coached a middle linebacker on the football team, at a place like the University of Oregon with an awesome football team, and he's a middle linebacker that started this year for the Ducks. He's a tough guy.
Another person that got hit. Did you get hit by Chase Meggers' foul ball there in I think the first or the second inning?
No comment.
None at all?
Nope.
Just throw some dirt on it?
Nope, fine.
What does it say to you about the 2 true freshmen that came in, got double play balls, kind of stopped the momentum a little bit? Felt like Seattle was, getting a little bit back on their side.
Yeah, good observation. I agree with you. They had some poise, is what we're asking these guys to get old. And they did. They made some pitches when they needed to. You see some things where you go, oh, that doesn't look quite great. When you walk a guy, but then you get a double play ball on the next guy, and Cole Stokes is as talented as they get. And he's young, and we just need to continue to bring him along. He's got a big future.
On Cole specifically, he's got all the physical, to be an ace down the line kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
Just what's it mean for him to come in as a true freshman and make an impact, in the midweek games and weekend games? Just what does that mean to you guys as a staff?
He's really good. He can make an impact in any game. He's got a big arm, and he just needs to, refine his skills to be able to make the major league someday. And before he does that, he just needs to continue to put hay in the barn now.
For you guys who, are so good in the later third, late innings of a game, it was kind of the different script today, got out early. Do you feel like Cole and Colin give you a different energy maybe in those middle innings that can be transferred to keep that energy throughout the middle third?
Yeah, they've got big arms, right? And so just using them at critical times. We didn't bring Cole Stokes into that game at a really easy time. And he answered the bell, in a big, big way. So I was really proud of Cole.
Great stuff from Mark Wazakowski. A happier coach post-game, things to build on. Game 3 against Seattle U tonight, 5 o'clock, 4:45 pregame show across the Oregon Sports Network. Also softball yesterday. Number 21 Oregon rallied from 2 runs down early, gave up a couple runs late, 5-3 loss to UCLA Thursday night at Easton Stadium. I'll tell you, though, a couple young players in Paige Sinicki, Katie Flannery. First home runs of the season for the Ducks, who are now 20-11, 7-3 in conference play. They remain a half game ahead of the Bruins at 5-2 in conference for UCLA. Look, I can't say this enough. It's a critical Pac-12 series. No matter how it goes, for the Ducks, the Bruins is a critical Pac-12 series. Game 2 tonight at 5 o'clock. We'll break all that down with Knight Ureski, the voice of the softball team, on the road for KWVA, chatting with Knight when we come back to Duck Insider right after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
When you're high, you feel different. You think different, you talk different, you draw different, you listen to music different, but you probably knew that. Problem is, you also drive different, and not in a good way. That's why driving high is illegal everywhere. So if you're high, just don't drive. Make a plan to get a sober ride. Because if you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Joining us on the Zoom line is Knight Ureski, live from the Jane. Wow, that's modern technology for you. He calls a game. Actually, I'm about to joke about this, but I called games from here during COVID when basketball and football was on the road. So that brought back bad memories. Knight Ureski's on the road. He's got Jane Sanders Stadium as the background, but on the road in Los Angeles as the Ducks are taking on the Bruins tonight. Coming off a 5-3 loss yesterday. Knight, what'd you see? Takeaways from the tough one against UCLA last night?
I mean, I saw a very competitive game. I mean, these are two of the top teams in the Pac-12. This is a top 25 series. The Ducks are 24th. UCLA is number 15, and it certainly lived up to the hype. I mean, this is going to be a great series overall. I mean, it was back and forth. Oregon took the lead. UCLA took the lead. Ducks battled their way back, tied at 3-3 late. They had a chance going up into the bottom of the sixth inning. Ultimately, UCLA scored a couple of runs late. They took the lead on a pinch hit, 2 RBI single. But the Ducks showed that they can compete against a really good UCLA team. UCLA, their pitcher yesterday, Caitlin Terry, was the Pac-12 Freshman of the Week, and she just shut out University of Washington on 81 pitches. I mean, that is a tough freshman to go up against, and the Ducks did a good job scoring 3 runs against her. And overall, I think that if you look at the pitching, Morgan Scott had a pretty good outing, 4 innings, and did allow those 3 runs, but she settled in, and Taylor Spencer threw 1 inning out of the pen, and, you know, she struck out Maya Brady. So, I mean, the Ducks were able to compete, and this is going to be a great series, and I'm looking forward to Game 2 tonight.
So Paige Sinicki had the big fly tonight, one of a couple big swings for the Ducks. You mentioned it being a competitive game. So the way that it worked for me last night, baseball wraps up, softball's in the 6th inning, and I was really excited at the top of the 6th inning, and then the bottom of the 6th inning didn't go the way that the Ducks would have liked. But the point I'm making, Knight, is competitive game. Paige Sinicki, a big reason why.
Absolutely. And, you know, she got the party started. She hit a home run. It was her first of the season, first since 2022, I believe, in the Fayetteville Regional. So quite a bit of time away from home runs. But she crushed the ball. I mean, that was some of the best contact I've ever seen from not only her, but any Oregon player this season. And, you know, I don't know how big the walls are at UCLA. I think they're around 8 feet because the outfielders are around 5'11". To 5'6", somewhere in that range, and they're jumping up. And even when they jump up against the wall, their glove is just eclipsing the top of the wall. So I'm going to say it's about 8 feet.
Good
and
estimate.
Then there's a scoreboard above that, and that's 28 feet. So combined, about 36 feet. She hit it over the scoreboard. I mean, that's about the size of the Green Monster at Fenway Park. Like, that is a monstrous home run. And, like, just to see her stature, you know, she's 5'3", and just to see her crush a softball like that was insane. You just knew it off the bat. And, I mean, she's really challenging Ariel Carlson for the way that she could crush a softball, because I didn't realize that Paige had that type of pop.
Okay.
But great to see that from her.
So, serious question now. How far would it have gone at the Jane? Are we talking like on the outdoor tennis courts? I mean, where would it have landed?
I mean, it probably could have landed on the outdoor tennis courts. You know, they have that netting in left field. And so, like, the way that she hit the ball, it probably would have gone over that netting and rolled to the tennis courts. Like, that's how far she probably hit it.
All right. So, more of that from Paige Sinicki coming up. At least that's the plan for the Ducks. Now, you talked a little bit, Knight, about the pitching, and I feel like we knew going into this series that pitching was going to be a key. It's been a key in what Ms. Lombardi calls a super regional every single weekend. What do you anticipate in the Circle on the Hill tonight?
I think that, you know, you probably are going to see Stevie Hansen start tonight. Last week, it was Lisa Kolsky getting the start in game number 2. I think you're probably going to see Stevie Hansen tonight. You know, Sokolsky threw yesterday in the 6th inning, and so I think that you're probably going to see Stevie Hansen start the game, and then if Stevie gets into some trouble, I wouldn't be surprised if Coach Lombardi went back to Taylor Spencer.
Yeah.
Spencer only threw 1 inning yesterday, and, I mean, she struck out 2 batters, only threw 18 pitches, and, you know, Coach Lombardi's trusted in her in some big spots this season, and I wouldn't be surprised that if she went that way, went for Taylor Spencer, and then at the very end of the game, if Spencer runs into some trouble, you might see Morgan Scott. But, I mean, I think that's the great thing about this Oregon softball team. For the last couple of years, it felt like they really didn't have a bullpen. This year, they have a legit staff. They have 5 pitchers on their team that are really, really good, and, you know, you couldn't go wrong either way. I think this is a Ducks team with a big pitching staff, and the pitching is going to carry them. I mean, they have one of the top ERAs in the Pac-12. They don't walk a lot of batters. I mean, the staff is legit.
You know, to that point, like Coach Lombardi and I have had that conversation a lot, that softball's really changed to being a staff from the broadcaster chair. I mean, you're seeing more pitching changes than I ever saw. You see more pitching changes in a weekend than I ever saw probably in an entire season. I'm joking. But the point is, Knight, I mean, the depth and the competition level in the Circle, what have you seen from Oregon this year?
I mean, I think that, you know, you have a lot of options. And I think that, like, that's the big thing, is that, like, you have the utmost faith in every single one of these pitchers going out and getting the job done. And I think that's the really good thing to see. Because in the past, it felt like Oregon was like just leaning on Stevie Hansen, especially during her freshman year. Then it was a little bit of just Morgan Scott being leaned on last year with Stevie Hansen as the supplement. Now this year, you have Taylor Spencer out of the bullpen that's been excellent. Elisa Kolsky's been a great starter for the Ducks, and, you know, Reagan Breedlove can add some innings as well. And so I think it's good because, you know, you can get yourself out of a jam. Like, Coach Lombardi was unafraid to pull Taylor Spencer yesterday after just giving up 1 hit. Why? Because she has the utmost faith in her bullpen. And I think that's what's different with this year compared to last year. But I certainly agree. Way more pitching changes. Dude, Fullerton on Tuesday, they whipped out 6 different pitchers.
I saw that.
I don't know if I've ever seen that in softball. 6 different pitchers in a game. That was crazy.
Well, and what a roller coaster of a game on Tuesday. We haven't even talked about that. Like, it's been a long trip for Knight and the softball team down in Southern California. You enjoying spring break? Have you gotten tan?
I don't know if I got tan, but I am enjoying spring break. Went golfing yesterday right before.
What'd you shoot?
So, really bad.
Oh.
I just started golfing a month ago, so that was my 4th time going out golfing. But I hit my first par, so that's what I'm happy about. I got my first par. So.
Hey, that's not bad. Look, you realize you could have just said, "Oh, I shot par," like, and we would have believed you. I mean,
yeah, but I'm a truthful guy, you know. You know,
he is a truthful guy. I can confirm. Knight Urescu joining us. So KWVA down there for the hometown call, coming off the loss for the Ducks against UCLA tonight. It is a 5 o'clock start for Oregon softball. The Ducks taking on a good UCLA team. You know, I probably should ask you this earlier, Knight. Like, coming into the series, I felt like UCLA was down in non-conference season, at least by the Bruin standards. But coming off some wins in conference, so what's your assessment of UCLA, and also what's your assessment of the whole Pac-12 here? Because I'm about to ask you about the importance of these games in the standings here coming up.
I mean, the Pac-12's as competitive as it always is. And I think that UCLA, they're a team that was trying to find their footing at the beginning of the year. They lost their 2 options in the Circle last year, Megan Framo and Brooke Yanez, the former Duck. And so, you know, you lose your top 2 options in the Circle. And now they're really relying on 2 young underclassmen, a freshman and a sophomore on their team. And we saw both of them yesterday. Taylor Tinsley was excellent at the end of the game for UCLA, and she's going to be a really, really good pitcher. I anticipate her probably getting the start tonight, and she's going to be a tough pitcher to go up against. And then Caitlin Terry, again, another excellent option for UCLA. So I think this is a team that has a lot of offense. Obviously, Maya Brady is the top player in the Pac-12, if not the top player in the country. And, this is a good UCLA team with a lot of options offensively. Pitching-wise, a little thin, but, it's a good UCLA team. And I think the big thing for UCLA is you look at their non-conference, and they struggled a little bit compared to previous years. I mean, they were the number 2 overall seed last year going into the NCAA tournament. They find themselves at number 15 right now. But UCLA did go 6-0 against the Big Ten, a conference that Oregon struggled against in the non-conference. And so I think that, things are starting to click for UCLA. They were able to salvage the series against Washington, win a game against the Huskies after dropping the first 2, and they swept Utah, a really good Utah team that received first place Pac-12 votes at the beginning of the year. UCLA didn't receive first place Pac-12 votes, and they were able to sweep the Utes. So I think it's a good team, and, they really are a top 15 team. And I think that Oregon showed that they can compete with a top 15 team once again.
Great stuff from Knight Ureski, the voice of the Oregon softball team. Coming up, we've got more with Knight. We're going to get a quick timeout and return to Duck Insider right after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Imagine all the fun you can have this spring break in a new Toyota. Woo-hoo! I'm having fun, and I'm not even there.
Ready, set, go get your Toyota today. Toyota, let's go places. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends April 1st.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Imagine all the fun you can have this spring break in a new Toyota. Woo-hoo! I'm having fun, and I'm not even there.
Ready, set, go get your Toyota today. Toyota, let's go places. Dealer inventory may vary. See your participating Toyota dealer for details. Event ends April 1st.
This is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here. I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect that legacy.
Protect your legacy. Visit ready.gov/plan for the tools and tips you need to start your emergency preparedness plan today. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
A lot of action on the diamond as we welcome you back to Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Oregon baseball game 3 tonight, 5 o'clock first pitch against Seattle. And then also 5 o'clock, Oregon, UCLA, it's game 2. Knight Ureski will have the call on KWVA, the student radio station here at the University of Oregon. Voice of the softball team joining us. We continue our chat with Knight Ureski. Now a conference standing. Stanford 7-0. How about that? Stanford sitting at 7-0, UCLA 5-2. Then it's Washington and Oregon at 7-3. Everybody else is below 500 in the league standings right now. Critical Pac-12 series night, right? I mean, how do you slice it up? Critical Pac-12 series.
I mean, it's monstrous, and this is going to dictate how things go for the remainder of the season. UCLA, they're trying to crawl their way back after dropping those 2 of 3 against the Washington Huskies. And so I think that Oregon, they find themselves with 3 losses right now. They need to even it up against UCLA, keep themselves ahead of the Bruins and try to get closer to Stanford. Stanford's really good. I mean, they have some really, really good players on their team. Nigeri Canada is by far one of the best pitchers in the Pac-12, and she's going to be a tough pitcher to go up against. But thankfully, the Ducks don't have to face off against Stanford until the last week of the season. And then they get to stay in Palo Alto for that final week, as they're going to be having the Pac-12 tournament there. So
that's right.
They got a lot of time to think about the Cardinal and prepare for that. But, a couple of big series ahead, especially with Washington coming into town next week.
Well, and the fact that Oregon so far has won every Pac-12 series, right? I mean, it's rare that the Ducks have in fact, Knight, you'll know better than me, Oregon has not dropped the opening game of a series yet, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a little bit of uncharted territory for the Ducks, looking for a bounce back. How do they do it? Some keys to success in Game 2 and in Game 3 coming up.
I think the offense needs to be big. Oregon's a type of team that, like, if they score 3-4 runs, they're going to probably win the game. And yeah, yesterday they didn't win the game when they scored 3 runs, but they were in it. And I think that, if they get on top early, if they can get into a 2-3 run lead early on, I think that their pitching is going to carry them. That's what we've seen all season long. If Oregon could get out onto a good start, get a lead, the pitching is going to cruise. And I think that's going to be the big key today. Pitching wise, have to try to limit the Bruins. I mean, they're going to score some runs. Like when you have Maya Brady at the top of the order, that's a tough out. They have consistent options up and down the order. But I think scoring runs is going to be the big thing today. You're going to have to get to Taylor Tinsley if she is the starter. If Terry's going to get out there again, then you're going to have to get it to Terry early. I think that's the big thing for Oregon today.
Talking about offense then too, Knight. I mean, I've been so impressed with Kai Lushar. I mean, a 4.25 average. I don't care how you're doing it. That's impressive. I mean, you talk about a spark plug at the top. Kai Lushar's been that this year.
She certainly has. And I think the most impressive thing about Lushar is she is a slap hitter. And the other week in media availability, she was like, oh, yeah, I know exactly where I'm hitting the ball every time. I am exactly locating where I'm going to hit the ball in the dirt and how I'm going to get to first place. Like, that's just her game plan. Like, She is so talented that she can just dictate where the ball goes. And I think that, having a hitter that can get on about half the time, if you factor in her on-base percentage, is just incredible at the top of the order. And honestly, just going back to the bottom of the order, I've been really impressed with Hannah Delgado in the 9th spot. I think that she's been excellent. Obviously, Sinicki had the big home run yesterday, but she's been batting in the 8th spot. To have Paige Sinicki at 8, Hannah Delgado at 9, and then Kai Lushar at the 1 spot, like those are 3 really good bats in a row that can turn over the lineup, bring it to Ariel Carlson or Alyssa Daniel kind of batting in that 2 spot. That's dangerous. I mean, if you put runners on for Ariel Carlson, Oregon's going to score some runs. And to have 3 great options with Lushar, Delgado, and Sinicki is amazing for this Oregon team.
And we'll see what Coach Lombardi does with the lineup tonight. But to your point earlier about Paige Sinicki, I mean, getting the home run, she's played such a great shortstop, hitting 288 on the season, but maybe some confidence. Suddenly, if 5, 6, 7, and then Sinicki 8, just going off last night's lineup, get it going, Knight, like that's probably where the Ducks can lengthen out a lineup and maybe can lengthen out a few runs earlier in a ball game because, I mean, everybody had at least, well, I should say the middle of that order had at least 1 hit. Having some multiple hits in the middle of the order would help the Ducks.
Absolutely. And I think the big X factor, if you look over the last 11 games, has been Emma Kauf. Kauf has done a great job getting back on track offensively. Through non-conference play, she struggled. She was hitting below the Mendoza line. She had a stretch where she went 4 for 35. And since that point in Pac-12 play, since the first game against California to begin Pac-12 play, she has a hit in all but 1 game. And she's really gotten the bat going. And you can see the success for Oregon. They've won 8 of their last 11 games because Kauf has been that bat they were missing in that middle of the order. And, she did it again yesterday, had an RBI double late in the game in the 6th inning to tie it. She had a home run against Cal State Fullerton earlier in the week on Tuesday. And, to have a bat like that in the middle of the order in that 5 to 7 range is really, really huge. I think KK Humphreys is starting to come around a little bit, had a big weekend against her former team, or a big game, I should say, against her former team, Cal State Fullerton, on Tuesday. And then, Katie Flannery, she's a freshman. Yep. And, she it took her a while to get her first hit. It took about 15 at-bats for her to get her first hit. And then she finally got her first hit against Cal. And, she's starting to kind of get it going. It takes a while for a freshman to get used to college softball, and especially when you start your career 0 for 15, like it's a lot of pressure to try to get that first hit. And once she got that first hit, it felt like all the pressure was lifted off her shoulder. She had a 3 for 3 game against Utah yesterday, batting right behind Emma Kauf. She had a home run, her first home run as an Oregon Duck. She's had some big doubles, and I think that she's starting to come around too. And so you're starting to see this lineup really solidify itself. Coach Lombardi loves to change up the batting order, but last year and the year before that, it felt like she was constantly shifting players in and out of the lineup. This year, it feels like the same players, just a little bit of shifting in the batting order. And I think that's the big difference is there's a lot of consistency throughout. It just depends on what the matchup is and what she likes and where she's going to place hitters. But I think that the middle of the order is really starting to get it going. And that's why Oregon's won 8 of their last 11 games.
Yeah, it could be big time here coming up tonight. Ducks looking to even the series against UCLA. Critical Pac-12 series in the Pac-12 standings. Ducks win this series. They're in a really good spot. And then we can have some fun talking about a matchup at the end of the year with Stanford, like Knight was alluding to earlier. That's what's on the line. And also, top 25 wins on the road, tough to come by. Even in the Pac-12, tough to come by. Means a lot. 5 o'clock tonight, Game 2 against UCLA. Pre-game rolling a little bit before that on KWVA for folks listening to the hometown call with the voice of the team, Knight Ureski.
It's going to come around about exactly 5 o'clock. We like to keep it at 5 o'clock so that we don't upset the music DJs.
I appreciate the honesty from Knight Ureski. Hey, on that note, so everyone, we said that Knight and the crew was going to be down for the 11 a.m. start on Saturday. But, Knight, I understand that because in Los Angeles, if it drizzles, that's considered inclement weather, which means that y'all don't have a broadcast location?
Yes, they told us that we don't have a tent, they don't have any covering for us, and they don't have a way to give us power Ethernet in the rain. And, it's unfortunate, the one time a year that the Ducks are down in LA, it's going to rain. But, my thoughts are they should just move the game to Autzen Stadium so it never rains. So that's my solution.
That was well done. That was well played by Knight Ureski. He thought about that one before I asked him. So, in all seriousness, though, that stinks. I wish that there was going to be the hometown call for hopefully a rubber match in a series coming up night. So, no KWVA broadcast on Saturday because it's going to be drizzling in Los Angeles. Just not ready for that sort of weather like we are up here, I suppose. And, well, that means a big win tonight with Knight Ureski on the call. 5 o'clock, Oregon, UCLA, it's Game 2. Televised on the Pac-12 Network, and then tomorrow, the only broadcast, unfortunately, you get is on the Pac-12 Network. Can't be tuning in tonight on the hometown call. Knight, safe travels. Happy spring break. Here's to making your first Eagle. How about that?
Someday. That's the goal.
Yeah, skip the birdie. Go straight to the Eagle.
Can we change the name of an eagle and just name it a duck?
I mean, maybe we could go albatross. Could just be a duck.
Oh,
right?
Oh, okay. Oh, there you go.
See? This guy. Hey, safe travels, buddy. I appreciate the time.
Thank you, Joey. You take care.
When we come back, a lot more to cover. A busy weekend around Oregon athletics, not just on the diamond, but both diamond sports. Hey, we're in the thick of Pac-12 play. More coming from the Country Financial Studio. It's Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
My simple solution to the problem was remove people from the scene and help them feel safer.
In response to attacks against Asian Americans, Maddie Park raised over $250,000 to donate cab rides to the Asian community.
There is so much more work to be done. We really need to come together and tackle this issue as a community.
Support the Asian community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack with you here in the Country Financial Studio. Ducks and Dogs today. Oregon women's tennis hosting Washington over at the Student Tennis Center. If you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, there's a little construction going on around the Student Tennis Center, so you might have to veer around, but it looks like they're playing outside, which is a good omen for the week ahead and the weeks ahead for tennis. Might have some outdoor tennis for both the men's and the women's teams. Best of luck, though, to Courtney Nagel and her squad against the Huskies here. Meanwhile, for Oregon men's tennis, they're on the road today. You'll have some updates tonight on GoDucks.com in Denver, Colorado, taking on Denver. Beach volleyball is in action against UC Davis, also against Boise State here this afternoon. More details coming on GoDucks.com after the conclusion of those. And for men's and women's golf, both in action. Yesterday, senior Minoru Nagano put together a stellar back nine in the opening round of the Ping ASU Invitational on Thursday, led the Oregon women's golf team with a 3-under. Number 12 Ducks finished the day with a 2-under 286. That was sixth place in the 17-team field that features 7 other top 15 teams. Ducks have one of the best teams in the entire country, and Minoru Nagano led the way yesterday. Now, Nagano's 69 puts her in a tie for 5th overall on the individual leaderboard. And they're in action today. As we speak, Oregon women's golf continuing in the ASU and Ping Invitational. They'll be in action today and tomorrow. More details from Nate Kruger on GoDucks.com. And the Oregon men's golf team. They were in action in the Duck Invitational earlier this week. They're in San Francisco at the Goodwin. Greg Solhog shot a 1/71. Led the number 24 men's golf team in round 1 of the Goodwin on Thursday. So I'll close the day tied for 28th. The Ducks finished the opening round in the middle of the pack, tied for 15th in a field featuring 31 programs. It's one of the biggest collegiate golf events of the year at the Goodwin. Casey Martin said about yesterday, quote, "We didn't play particularly well. Golf course is really difficult, and I'm sure that played a big role in our challenges. We just didn't have a lot going. Tomorrow's forecast is brutal. It will be war." That's Casey Martin describing what he anticipates today in San Francisco. More details coming on GoDucks.com as the men's and women's golf teams will both wrap up their respective rounds today, and both are scheduled to be in action tomorrow as well. Also in action, Oregon track and field. The Stanford Invitational in Stanford, California. It will be available on FlowTrack today and tomorrow. A lot on the horizon for the outdoor season, which is now getting into full swing here with spring term on the horizon for the University of Oregon. Oregon lacrosse in action against UC Davis tomorrow. See you at 1 o'clock at Pape Field. Softball tonight at 5 o'clock and 11 a.m. tomorrow in Los Angeles. And the 4-game set comes to a close for Duck baseball here this evening. 5 o'clock for Game 3, noon tomorrow. A lot going on. Have a great holiday weekend, everybody. Spring term starts on April Fool's Day on Monday. See you then.
Put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A